Hey my loves, so really quickly before we get into this, I still have Halloween nails and my look is the same for my last kind of like stalker story time because I am filming this on the exact same night. I want to like kind of knock out this whole stalker series in one night if I can, just because like it's a really scary situation. I don't want to chicken out in like a couple of weeks and not tell these stories because I can always decide not to put them up, I guess, but like I feel like I might freak out, my anxiety might get really bad and I won't tell these. And also the reason that this wasn't in my first stalker story time is because this story has a very different feel to it. In the first one I was laughing a lot, but this story is not funny. This was actually one of the scariest things I ever went through, and it happened the night before my dad died. And the whole thing is just freaky. So I'm gonna tell you guys kind of the story of how someone broke into my house and how I think it might have something to do with the guy that I told you about in my last video who catfished me for 10 years and how I don't know who he is. And so yeah, I just really wanted to tell this story and I hope you guys are interested in it. Grab your coffee. I have mine because it's really late tonight and I'm still sipping it. Grab a snack, grab something. And if you have not watched my first stalker story, I told that story for background to kind of like give emphasis on how weird this situation is. So go back and watch it. But if you want the Cliff Notes version, essentially this guy, I had known him since I was in MySpace. On MySpace, he was someone I didn't know in real life. He was just an internet friend, and essentially it turned out that he was a lot older than he said he was. No one even knew if his pictures were him. It's very, very unlikely that they are. I've never actually reverse image searched any of his photos, but I really should do that. So anyways, this guy had been kind of like stalking me online for a really long time, and it went from like kind of harassment, not kind of, but you know, harassment, like why aren't you adding me, making all of these fake accounts, trying to like follow me again, to something a lot scarier. So we had left a couple of comments on YouTube and I was getting some sort of weird messages that I wondered if they could be him. The reason that I say that is because these messages on YouTube, and this was in the time when I still could kind of like look through my YouTube messages, I was getting poems really similar to the ones that he would write, talking about how much he loved me, how beautiful I was. He never really said he like loved me before. It was always like how much he admired me, how he thought I was so perfect and pure, and like I said in my last video how he never wanted anyone to corrupt me and he never wanted, you know what I mean? So it kind of went from that to like these poems seemed like they could be written by him. It was the same sort of stuff, like talking about, I don't know, the way that I looked, the way that I carried myself. And then one line in one poem, it was one of the ones where this person was talking about how much they loved me. And I was blocking these people as they were sending the poems because it really creeped me out. And you know how you just like, you know when stuff like that happens? And honestly, I would go back and I would read them. But like I said in the first stalker story time, I don't want anyone to know who he is. I also don't even have those messages anymore because at the time I had no clue what this would escalate to. And in one of the poems, he said something, the person who was sending it said something along the lines of, "I'm so grateful to have watched you grown." And I said in my last video that he had said that to me once. It was a weird thing and it's a very specific thing to say. And I hadn't been on YouTube that long at this point, maybe a little bit over a year. At this point, I was really just used to constantly getting like fake accounts trying to add me as a friend on Facebook too. That's like such a mute point right now because they would come in the dozens every couple of weeks or every couple of months or whatever. And then it would stop. It would be like, I always knew it was him because sometimes they would just try to start a conversation. Sometimes they would say, "Why aren't you friends with Jake?" And so there were just all these little things and I knew it was him when these things would happen. I didn't really think too much about it. And honestly, like when it's all online, you don't really think much about it. He never threatened me. He threatened my guy friends, like I said in my last video. But he never threatened me. He never made me feel, I mean, he made me feel uncomfortable, but he never made me feel like I was in danger. And then it had been a while since I heard from him and I had another fake account pop up and message me. and he messaged me a poem, and it was in the same style of writing as Jake, and I wound up deleting it and blocking the guy, and I wound up getting the poem again, and I blocked and deleted that guy, and then I got another account sending me the poem, and I blocked and I deleted that guy, and then another account under Jake's name popped up, and he said, "I'm really proud of you for what you've done on YouTube. I think it's amazing. You are like so unique. You're so awesome. I know we're not really friends anymore. I just wanted to say that." And I read the message, and for some reason, I don't know why I did this, I replied. And I don't remember when this would have been. It wasn't super long ago, but it also wasn't like that recently. So maybe like last year or something, he had sent this message, and I saw it, and I replied the way that I would reply to absolutely anyone else who ever sends me messages like this, because a lot of my friends will say, "I'm really proud of you for what you've done on YouTube." So I just said, "Thank you for the support. It really means a lot to me." And then he tried to send me a friend request, and I denied it. And he messaged me, "So we aren't friends?" The same way he had like a million other times. And I didn't respond to that when he tried to message request me again, or like friend request me again. I ignored it. And then that was when he went off on me again, calling me a lot of really terrible words, just saying what a horrible person I was for not wanting to be friends with him. How he had supported me and always like tried to keep me safe from boys, and how because of him I hadn't been corrupted, and like basically attributed everything that I did on YouTube to him, like to himself. And it was really weird. I blocked him again. The like accounts would still pop up here and there, whatever. I'm used to it now. I'm just used to like blocking and deleting and blocking and deleting. And then I wound up moving out of my old house. My last day in that house was September 30th or whatever. Like it was the last day of September. And a few days prior to this was the first time I had heard from an account under Jake's name in a really considerable amount of time. And this message from Jake was my address. It wasn't my current address, but my old address. And I thought that was really, really, really bizarre. And I just assumed like maybe he found it online. He was probably just trying to freak me out, whatever. I blocked the new account. I deleted the message. I went on with my life. And that last day that I was in the house, I was there around 11 o'clock at night. And I was there alone. Just basically getting like the last couple of boxes of stuff. I had basically like orchestrated a whole thing where we were like getting the house nice and clean, and I was doing lawn work there the entire day, just trying to get the house like nice again, you know, because obviously like we were renting from a company and I wanted it to be nice again when they had someone else move in. And they do have like maintenance people and stuff. I don't know. I wanted it to be nice. And I really loved that house. So actually, that's a lie. I really hated that house, but I liked living there. I don't know, it was like my first standalone house. I was kind of proud of it. So I was just making sure it was really nice for the new people who were gonna move in and all that, and I had spent the entire day there. I was freaking exhausted. So I know I wasn't super aware of my surroundings, but at the same time, I did not imagine what happened. Basically, I had one last bin, literally one final bin. And then that's why this is so bizarre. It's that I had one final thing to get at that house, and then I was done. Like I was leaving that night, like within the next 5 minutes after I got this final bin of stuff, and I was never going back to that house again. Like, you know? So I walk into the house to get this one final bin, and I walk in the door and I'm playing YouTube on my phone. I think I was probably listening to someone tell a story time video. I remember very, very, very distinctly, I literally had walked in the doorway, I clicked the lock button on my phone, and I was walking to grab the bin. And that was when I heard, oh my God, you guys, it was the creepiest thing in the entire world. I heard someone like shift in the kitchen. Like I heard like a step almost. And that was when I like kind of like froze, and I saw, oh my God, in the kitchen, like coming from, there's basically like an entryway and then into the kitchen from like the long hallway when you first walk into the house, and there was a shadow, like a really tall shadow right there. So someone was in the house, and it couldn't have been Tyler for anyone asking. He was definitely at work. And it wasn't him, and no one else had been coming into the house. Like our realty company wouldn't have been there at 11 o'clock at night, you know what I mean? And then when I heard that step, I saw the shadow, I literally froze, and right then, and I was wondering like, am I imagining this? Is this paranormal? Like whatever. Just then, something shatters. Something hits the floor, something shatters. And right when it shattered, I heard someone mumbling, and I took off. I jumped in the car, I drove away. I didn't even close the front door. Something I've only told the police up until this point, and like Tyler, is that as I was driving away, I saw someone in the doorway. I saw like a man in the doorway. It scared the crap out of me. And whoever this was going through the final bin in the house. And it was all like dishes and like some really fragile stuff like picture frames and whatnot. And it was all stuff that had been packed away like really specifically. And that was why it was my last bin, was because I was taking special care with it. And so I came back, I locked the door basically to like my new house, called the cops, called Tyler. And while the cops were doing the walkthrough, I didn't go in there with them, but they said that the back door was open, like wide open. They had shattered the glass and it was all over the floor. My mind did not even go to the fact that Jake had sent me that message with my address in it like a few weeks, or not even a few weeks, like a few days prior. Like that wasn't even where my head went. My mind kind of went to maybe like someone had been like squatting in the house because no one had really been there in almost 3 weeks. The police wound up like taking a statement from me, but they kind of told me there was nothing they could do. Nothing was really missing. It definitely was a break-in. Like someone broke into my house. They were going through my things, but I guess like all I could do was file a report, which I did do. And they couldn't really do anything beyond that. So it really was so weird. Tyler wound up coming back like immediately, just so I wasn't alone here. And as I was kind of like talking about this on social media and just like so freaked out that I had been in the same house, because you don't know someone's intentions. I don't know who that was in my house. I don't know what their intentions were, you know what I mean? Like it could have been someone who had been coming there regularly, just because no one had barely been living there for a while. You never know what someone's gonna do when they get caught breaking and entering into a home. So I wound up going home and I was tweeting and I was, you know, just like on Facebook and stuff. And I wound up going to my Facebook and just kind of like aimlessly going through messages. And I saw I had another new message request. And it was from another page under Jake's name. And it was from before I had tweeted that anyone had broken. So this was before I had put anything on social media that someone had broken into my house. And it was the first time that he had messaged me since he messaged me my address. And it was just the little devil smiley face emoji. He messaged me my old address to this house, and then I just had someone break in, and literally like minutes after it happened, minutes after I bolted out of there, he leaves me that like smiley face and devil emoji. I wound up like telling the police that this had happened. And essentially, like, I mean, he didn't say he had broken into the house. He didn't threaten me at any point. He didn't tell me, I'm gonna kill you. Like, he didn't say, I'm gonna break into your house. He didn't say I did break into your house. He posed no real threat to me. And I don't even really know who Jake is, because I still don't think his photos are who he really is. He's not 18 very clearly. And he's been following me online for so long, but like I have no proof it was him. I just have the fact that someone broke into my house, he messaged me my address a few days before, and then literally right after it happened, that little devil face smiley emoji. And it was so weird. I still don't know what it was. I don't know if it was pure, weird, bizarre coincidence, but everything in my gut tells me that it's not. So yeah. But luckily, that was my old address. It's not my new address. And at my new place, I have a crap ton of security. I have security cameras. I have motion sensors on every door. And if everything like beeps and lets me know when doors and windows and stuff are open. So I am locked the F in. I am safe and sound where I am right now. So yeah. I am really glad that I'm in this new house. I'm really glad that I wasn't living there when this happened, because God only knows what would have happened if I was actively living in that home and like someone broke in when Tyler wasn't there. You know what I mean? Like, it's so scary to think about, and it's still one of the scariest things that ever happened to me. Just knowing that you're in the same house as someone who's not supposed to be there is the weirdest, most unsettling thing on planet Earth. So it was weird. I still don't really know what else to say on that, except that it really sucked. And then right after, literally the next day, my dad passed away. And so, you know, like that was really a hard way to follow up from that. So I haven't really thought about the break-in for a while, because clearly my mind has been in more important places. But I did want to tell the story because it is part of this like stalker saga, whatever. The whole thing is so weird. I would love to know you guys' thoughts for sure on this, just because you guys are all really smart and a lot of the times you offer up explanations for things that I don't necessarily think of. So if you guys think that this was just a scare tactic, because that's definitely possible. Like I said, I don't know who he is. I don't even know where he lives. I don't even know if he lives in the United States. I don't know if he hired someone to do this. You know, like, I feel paranoid saying things like that, but it's made me feel paranoid. You know what I mean? Like, the fact that he's been following me for 10 years and I don't know who he is, and I don't know, the whole thing's just so bizarre, and he has been so obsessed with me for so long. So I don't know, I'm just really interested to hear what you guys have to say. Give this video a thumbs up if you thought the story was interesting. I'm not gonna say if you enjoyed, because there's probably a lot of information to handle. Subscribe to my channel if you have not already. My next story is going to be, I hope to God, the last in this story, and it's about the delivery that I got to my doorstep last night. And I'm gonna film that right now with my Halloween nails. So you guys will see that really soon. But I love you all so much. I will see you in my next video, and I hope you guys are doing really well. Bye.